Welcome to US News' Best Countries in the World rankings. Now, I'm an American, which means I'm generally very self-absorbed and not very knowledgeable about what happens in the rest of the world, but let's try our best here. I usually think of the best countries as the countries that ensure the happiness and the prosperity of its own citizens. So, because of that, we're going to take a look first at a list of countries with the happiest citizenry in the world and see how that compares. The world's 20 happiest countries: Finland, Iceland, Denmark, Switzerland, the Netherlands, Sweden, Germany, Norway. I think I'm starting to see a pattern here. It seems to me that the social democratic countries and the ones farthest left are the most prosperous countries in the world. Now, when I look at a country that's not left, it's pretty far right of all the industrialized countries. The United States does come to mind, and of course it's very socially backward. So even though it's 14th in this list right here, I would rank the United States maybe around 300 in my rankings, give or take a couple hundred. Let's see what US News has to say. Canada. Okay, I can see it. I mean, they're America but better, right? And without a military. Japan, really? I mean, we all know Japanese are degenerates because they have like anime and shit, which of course came from America in the form of comics, so that's all degenerate, of course. But their population is like aging, and they're also really xenophobic too, so they're not going to bring enough immigrants in to fulfill their population's economic needs. But okay then, Japan it is. Germany, okay, I can see it. Switzerland, well, we're seeing some similarities. Australia, what the fuck? The United States? The United States is the 6th best country in the world? This is absolute bullshit, obviously. It shouldn't be any higher than 15 at the best. We have stats. Alright. So it gets a 93.3 out of 100. Let's see. Adventure. Friendly, 26.7. How are they measuring this? Do they just get a bunch of people to pretend they know how friendly Americans are? Good for tourism, 68.3. I actually think this should be a little higher. With just how big America is, there's like, you can see anything and everything. Pleasant climate, 25.8. Wait, that doesn't even make sense. What? First of all, what the fuck is a pleasant climate? I like the snow and I like the rain, but probably they'd presume that like the Mediterranean type of countries where there's like 0 seasons and it's always just sunny outside, perhaps they presume that that's pleasant. But fuck, like America has all of it. If you want snow, you can go to fucking Washington, and if you want deserts and like drying up in the heat, you can go to Texas or California, shit like that. I don't get what it means by 25.8% for climate, scenic. The fuck does that mean? And how is that different from good for tourism? The hell? And sexy, 9.5. I don't get it. I mean, I get that Americans are fat and stuff like that, but like, how are we not sexy? Like, we're a nation of immigrants. Like, everybody comes here. Like, is this some sort of implication that like being a country where everybody from all other countries have immigrated to in huge numbers makes us less sexy? I don't know. It seems our diversity should make us more sexy or something like that. Actually, adventure might actually deserve to be a little higher. Agility 100. Wow. Adaptable 63.8. The fuck do you mean adaptable 63.8? Have you seen our Constitution? The opposite of progress is Congress. We can't get anything done with Republicans in the Senate and the filibuster. The way our government works is one of the least efficient, least versatile, and least adaptable. Dynamic? The fuck does that mean? Modern 100? The fuck what? Have you seen our infrastructure? It's all crumbling apart. Like, I'm pretty sure we have like -3 miles of high-speed rail in our country, and everything's just being trucked around by drivers that like run on half a mile per gallon. How the fuck are we modern? Progressive, 88.9%. Okay, I get it. We're competing with the rest of the world here, right? And when we have people like Saudi Arabia that we're competing with, okay, maybe we're on the progressive side, but 88.9%. We don't have equality for black people or brown people or whatever. We don't have equality between men and women. Women are still oppressed in some ways. Men are oppressed legally in that, like, it's okay to draft men but not women. And it's also legal to cut off the tip of a man's dick. And polygamy is illegal. Transgender people are slowly becoming illegal, like in Arkansas. We've got voter suppression laws up our ass. How the fuck are we progressive? Responsive? Again, how are we responsive? Our Congress doesn't get anything done unless it's bad. You need 20% of all Republicans in the Senate to agree with you to pass anything. And there's nothing good in the world that 20% of Republican congressmen can agree on. We've talked about upgrading our infrastructure for years, and we just haven't done it. And now we're spending a couple $1 trillion on an infrastructure package, and then the Republicans and the moderate Democrats are trying to negotiate ourselves down from that. How the fuck are we responsive? I mean, maybe we can say, like, the states. Let's say the states are more responsive because they're more localized, so you can have more response on the local level depending on the needs of wherever. But that's not how politics actually plays out, is it? You know that Mississippi and Alabama are always going to go red, and they're always going to drag the rest of the country down. This is supposed to be a national score. We are the literal opposite of responsive. 93.7 my ass. Cultural influence, 85.7. Now, I'd argue that America is a terrible cultural influence. I mean, we do have all that diversity and shit like that. We have that melting pot. Yeah, sure, but we love violence, and we love capitalism, and we're really Christian. Like, that's three things that are almost unforgivable all off the bat. Cultural significance in terms of entertainment. Hollywood, music, we are the cultural significance. Whatever happens culturally in America happens in the rest of the world. We should be probably 100. I don't know any place in the rest of the world that's not influenced by American culture. So if we have 100% influence over the rest of the globe, how are we not at 100? I don't know. Fashionable, 67.7. What the fuck what does that mean? Fashionable. I mean, other people in other countries have slowly started to realize that America's not that great of a place, so we're not actually as fashionable as we were back however many years ago. Happy, 15%. What? I mean, we just looked at all this shit. Like, America's number 14 in the world out of the 20 happiest countries. We can't be that unhappy. I mean, sure, like, we have capitalism segmenting us into different sections of the population. We have digitization putting us all online. So we have less social interaction. We all hate each other. Sure. But also we've got the American dream. The delusion that if you just work hard enough, you can become successful. Like, that makes people happy. It's wrong, but it does. And religion, it also makes people happy, even though it's also delusional. So, I don't know, 15% happiness doesn't seem quite right. I'd put it around maybe a 69. Has an influential culture. I don't get it. How is culturally significant in terms of entertainment and influential culture? Like, they're basically the same thing, aren't they? And again, what culture is more influential than ours? That doesn't even make sense. Has strong consumer brands. What do you mean by strong? Do you mean like we have many brands? Because sure, like, when I go to the supermarket, I have like a choice of 30 types of potato chips, but they're all the same one potato chip, just slightly different in unimportant ways. And all those 30 different brands are just sub-brands of one giant company behind it. Like, how much choice do we really have? I don't know. We all mostly have one choice of internet we can choose. We have one choice for our utilities. If you look at how much consumer choice we actually have, if you just strip away all that bright light branding bullshit, we don't have nearly as much choice as we pretend we do. And of course, the voting with your dollar thing, it has never been demonstrated to work. Amazon is everything now, right? And well, we know what's up with Amazon. Modern 100. Wait, you counted that twice? Wait, there's what? Entrepreneurship. Oh god. Oh god. Connected to the rest of the world. Yep. global multinational corporations. Let's go. Hiding in the Cayman Islands. Educated population, 67.9. Yeah, seems about right. We're technically educated, but also kind of really not, because we're all just like indoctrinated into believing America's like the center of the world, and that we never did anything wrong, and that like capitalism actually works. Bullshit like that. Entrepreneurial, 100%. When I think of a country that fosters entrepreneurship, when most entrepreneurial like startup businesses eventually go belly up, usually you would want a strong social safety net to keep that in place. Like, how do you have 100% if you can't guarantee that entrepreneurs have some sort of landing pad where if they don't become successful, they can just rely on that safety net and then get back up and create another new startup? It seems like this ranking of how entrepreneurial we are literally is only to do with how low our taxes are and how few regulations we have. But the social safety net, encouraging people to take risks, is an important part of that, and we don't have one. Our social safety net is like half of a spider web tucked between two trees, one of which is like about to be chopped down by a lumberjack. Like, no, we're not nearly as entrepreneurial as we think. Provides easy access to capital. The fuck does that mean? I'm pretty sure that's not true. I mean, easy access to capital depends on who you are. If you're like a fucking rich man with like business connections, yeah, you can get as much money as you want. But if you're like the everyday worker, like how much capital can you get? Easy access to capital. Usually when I think of easy access to capital for the people in the country, usually I think it's a more equitable system where people can actually have enough money to spend on things and stimulate the economy. But that's not the case. In our country, it's trickle up economics. Easy access to, I'm trying to find a good way to interpret it in some way other than just saying that US News is biased towards like big business interests. But I can't. US News, you're a cuck. Transparent business practices, 39.1%. I think that might even be too high. Businesses have all the power in the world. Like, I'm pretty sure all those like government agencies that are supposed to regulate companies, they just get paid off and bought off and bribed to not do it. Like, when's the last time some company was exposed on some like huge misconduct grounds? Because we all know it happens, but like, where is the government cracking down on all that shit? I don't know. It seems like 39% is even too high given how bought off the government is by our big businesses. Well-developed digital infrastructure, 97.8%. I'm pretty sure like people in parts of the United States don't even have internet. So how can this be true? And our internet's like super expensive too. Like in other places, like in Taiwan, there's just internet everywhere. Just everywhere. And it's all fast too. Well-developed infrastructure, 97%. What the fuck? Let's see. America's infrastructure report card, C-. How are we a C? Our infrastructure fucking sucks. Like, we've been talking about repairing our infrastructure for years and years, and we've just never done it. Like, we can't even muster up the money to spend $2 trillion on an infrastructure plan. Like, it should be like 20 trillion. Again, I know we're comparing to developing countries right now, but 97%? Come on, let's be serious here. Heritage, oh man, this sounds like some fashy shit. Culturally accessible, 59.5%. How are we anything but? Like, our culture is based around fads and pop culture and petty bullshit like that, and like worshipping celebrities and worshipping billionaires and all that. There's nothing more accessible and like small brain than that. Literally any idiot could come and just become part of our culture in America because we're all fucking dumb fucks. How's 59.5 high enough? It doesn't even make sense. Has a rich history, 35.9%. Well, I mean, we have a rich history, if you know what I mean, but our history is not particularly great, is it? I mean, we have, let's see, we had to fight an entire civil war over slavery. And then after that, slavery still didn't really get solved because we had like Jim Crow, and before that we had like sharecropping, and basically until the 60s we were basically openly racist. It seems like our history is just nothing but failure. Honestly, we make big promises, with like the Constitution. We make big ideals, and then we hypocritically fail at every single one of them. I mean, I could be wrong in that other countries might be similarly bad, but come on, like, it's the United States. How much worse can you get than we have? Has great food, 22.5%. Well, it depends on what you mean, right? Like, we import all of our food from elsewhere. I mean, I can't find any American food that just like tastes super good. Hamburgers and popcorn, and it's all really unhealthy. I mean, it's good, like it'll fill you up and you'll like it, but also like you wouldn't want to live like that. You wouldn't want to live eating only hamburgers, you know? But then we import so many different types of food from all over the world. I think it's kind of hard to argue that we only have a 22.5% rating if we are taking into account the rest of the world and immigration and shit. Movers. What does movers mean? Different, 9%. Oh yeah, we're different, all right. We have more guns than anybody else. We have more people in prison than everyone else. We have a bigger military that does more imperialism and random killing than everyone else. And we're also more capitalist, lower taxes than everyone else, and less equal opportunities than everyone else. We're just different in that we're worse, but we think we're better. Yeah, we're more patriotic and nationalistic than everyone else too. Different and distinctive. One of them gets a 9 and another gets 42%. That doesn't even make any sense. Dynamic. Again, what does dynamic mean? These are just arbitrary words that get assigned arbitrary ratings. I feel like somebody decided what the rating was going to be first, and then they filled in the rest of these categories and the rest of the rankings based on what they thought was best. Open for business. Oh god, this is going to be even worse. Bureaucratic, 0%. What does that mean, bureaucratic? I mean, we do have a deep state, like, we are bureaucratic and very inefficient. Cheap manufacturing cost. Yup, 0.5. Everything's expensive as fuck. China can just do everything for us. Why would we? Corrupt, 0%. Does this just mean bureaucratic and corrupt doesn't apply? Because like if you notice, the averages of these scores have shit to do with what the final score is. Favorable tax environment. Again, what the fuck does that mean? A tax environment that's favorable for big businesses? It's not the same as good for like small businesses, right? We have huge capital increases, but we don't tax capital gains at nearly the same rate as income tax, which I guess is favorable for big businesses, so it's open to business, but it's also bad, right? Because capital gains aren't actually legitimate forms of income. They're just ways of scraping money off the top of all of the economic contributions that workers give us. So if by favorable tax environment you mean better for big businesses, then yeah. But then how are we like 12%? This just confuses me. Like, I agree our tax environment is terrible, but I don't know what that means. 100% in power. Okay. Whoa. A leader, 100%. 100%. Joe Biden. How the fuck is Joe Biden a perfect leader? The only person he's perfect for is the corporate establishment and the status quo. He doesn't do anything to change anything in a positive direction. Who the fuck wanted Joe Biden to be president? People wanted Bernie, but they had to defeat Trump in some way, so Joe Biden's selling point was, I'm not Trump, I don't believe in anything, I'm a blank slate, and I knew Barack Obama. That was his selling point. He was literally just a nothing burger that we have voted for just to get Trump out of office. Nobody wants to follow him. He's just some guy. And then Kamala Harris? Kamala Harris ran a campaign so poor she had to drop out early. She couldn't even make it to the caucuses. She was that bad at raising campaign contributions and managing her money. And then she had to get affirmative action, then lugged up to the White House, lugged up to Capitol Hill, by a senile old gaff machine man who's been in Congress for like 300 years. These are our leaders and you give them a perfect score? Who else, huh? Nancy Pelosi, who just shit talks the progressives and the people who want to do actual change all the time, and who basically stopped a bill in Congress because she wanted to fuck Trump over. Instead of actually helping the American people, she just did it for political reasons. And then we got landed with a smaller stimulus bill after Joe Biden won. That's our type of leadership? And Chuck Schumer couldn't even bother to contest the confirmation of Amy Coney Barrett as Supreme Court Justice. Is a Supreme Court Justice not worth fighting for? Apparently not. He could have used so many of those Senate procedures to clog up the action and make sure to at least delay the nomination, if not completely cancel it outright, and wait for Joe Biden to come in and nominate a Democrat. But he just gave up halfway through. Like, what the fuck? He didn't even try. That's our leader? If you can't be motivated to stop the nomination of a Supreme Court justice, if you don't believe in even that, what the fuck do you believe in? These are our leaders. How the fuck did they get 100%? That makes no fucking sense whatsoever. Strong military, 97.6%. How are we not like at 300%? Let's see. China is number 2 in power, right? Strong military, 97.4%. $730 billion by the US, and China has like a third of that amount. So you're telling me we spend 3 times more in military spending, and you only give us 0.2% strong military more? I get that our military is inefficient and like pointless and it's bullshit like that, but like, seriously? How are we not 100%? We can already nuke everybody. We can already destroy the world with how many nukes we have. Like, what more do we need? We can already take people out from halfway across the globe without any government accountability, just piloted by some like female drone pilot. We're already way too strong. And also strong military. Why do I care how strong the military is? Fucking Iceland has no military at all. I literally don't fucking care how strong our military is. In fact, our imperialism and our endless wars are so destructive that I think it should be negative. I think the stronger your military is, the lower your score should be overall. Like, we have a military-industrial complex that takes money away from the American taxpayers and spends it overseas to further the interests of corporate interests. How is that a good thing? A good job market? Is our job market really that good? Well, first of all, we have very high unemployment right now because of COVID, but before that, people were unemployed less than other countries, but they were also underemployed. And people are like being paid far less than they're worth. I mean, it's capitalism. People are by definition under capitalism paid less than they're worth. But like 82.2%? Have you seen the condition of the working class? 80% of all Americans live paycheck to paycheck. How do we have a good job market if 80% of our population can't make ends meet from day to day? Economically stable, 73.3%. Yep. Although our national debt is just building up and building up because we spend so much money on the military. Fuck. Family friendly, 48.1%. What does that mean? I mean, usually when somebody says family friendly, they're just dog whistling for like conservatism, you know? Hate gay people and shit like that. I mean, we don't do the best job incentivizing couples to marry or to stay together. Safe, 10.8%. Yep. We just got so many guns. Everybody's just shooting each other for no reason. We could solve that all easily, but we just chose not to. Well-developed public health system, 31.9%. Shouldn't it be worse? Yeah, those like medicine companies, they rip you off by buying patents from the universities and then marking up the price. And then the insurance companies get their cut by like working with the hospitals to raise prices and then drop it back down by a fraction and pretend they're saving you money. Yeah, our medical system is a scam on top of a scam within a scam. 31.9 seems pretty charitable to me. Alright, social purpose. Seems like really arbitrary stuff again. Cares about animal rights. We keep chickens cooped up in like these iron cages where they literally never see the light of day, just standing in their own shit all day, and then they just get fed into some machine where they get crushed to death. And we don't care at all. Like, it should be around like 11%. Gender equality, 49.7%. I agree with this, but not for the same reasons that they say. What the fuck do they mean by gender equality? Men live like 5 years shorter lives than women. But I'm pretty sure all they talk about when they talk about gender equality is how women are supposedly oppressed in the country, which they are in certain ways. But come on, criminal justice to like the literal laws saying that men are disposable and can be drafted. Men legally aren't even equal to women under the law. And also women get paid slightly less, and they get taken seriously less sometimes, I guess. Maybe they don't become politicians or like CEOs of companies. But like, seriously, we're taking the average lifespan deduction of 5 years and comparing that to how many CEOs there are. So are we going to use that as a measure of how successful like our population is? It's pretty clear that men occupy the top rungs of society, but also the bottom rungs of society, where they're like 2/3 of all homeless people are men. It's pretty obvious to me that we don't have gender equality and that men have the raw end of the deal, both socially and economically, but they probably don't care about any of that bullshit. They're just slapped a number based on how misogynist they think the country is, and that's it. Racial equity 6.3%. I mean, we're pretty racist, but are we really that racist? I expect like a 6.3% to be like literally genociding people still. We have like soft Jim Crow in the form of the prison industrial complex and the drug war, but like 6.3% should be around like 30s or 40s, shouldn't it? Religious freedom, 88.6%. What do you mean by religious freedom? Like freedom to practice your religion or freedom from religion? I mean, Christians are basically just entrenched into the establishment, right? They just control everything. They'll give special exceptions where like Christians can break the law because their fairy tale beliefs say so. Meanwhile, there's I think 1 or 2 atheists in Congress, despite non-religious people making up 20% of the entire population, because people just think atheists are evil Satanists. And they're just not going to vote for you if you're an atheist. How is 88.6% even close? And we have so much Islamophobia too. Like, everything seems to be tilted in the direction of, like, fundamentalist Christians. We're not a religiously free country at all. Respects property rights. Again, this is some capitalist bullshit, right? You know that the parameters by which they're assessing this have nothing to do with reality. I mean, as a socialist, basically, I recognize that all private property is illegitimate. The idea that you can own something without actually wanting it or having to use it, you're just owning it for the sake of using it for monetary gain. What you're doing is essentially profiting off of depriving a resource from other people. So you're not actually contributing to the economy. You're actually taking away from the economy by reducing the supply curve. And then you're getting rewarded for it. But the protection of private property is probably a good thing in the USNews' book. Trustworthy, 17.1%. Yep, nobody trusts each other. Those Scandinavian countries or in parts of Canada, they literally don't even have to lock their doors. You can just walk up to somebody's house, open their door, and then walk right in. The Canadians are just gonna be there like, hi, why are you here? Yeah, if you tried to go into an American's home, they'd like shoot you the moment you walked into the door. Yeah, we don't trust each other at all. And well-distributed political power, 50.1%. When I think 50-50, I think of power being evenly distributed between the worker class and the owner class. But we have no unions in the United States. Usually you should have the workers represented by the union and the owner class represented by the corporation or the business itself. So what I define as a 50-50 society is one where all businesses are unionized and all businesses also have a capital owner. That would be 50-50 to me. But we're not even anywhere close to that. We have like 10% unionization in the United States. Again, I don't know by what metric they're deciding all these things, but it seems really arbitrary. So everything's wrong from their evaluations of culture and the national characterization of our country. We haven't even moved into topics like the way we control other nations and influence them for the worse. It doesn't really make sense to rank ourselves as high if the reason we're so high is because we drag other countries down by like imperializing them. There's more analysis to be done here. But yeah, this is all bullshit. United States should not be anywhere higher than 15. I'd rank them around like probably the low 20s. US News, you're a puppet of the corporate establishment. We already knew that, of course, because like all the college rankings are all completely arbitrary as well. Everything is bullshit. Don't trust anything these people say. They're all just a bunch of capitalist cronies. Fuck off.
I'm and I approve this message.